M&A has changed a lot because banking and financial services has changed so much. When I started in the business in 1986, Wall Street was dominated by Goldman Sachs, Salomon Brothers, Merrill Lynch, Morgan Stanley, and a few others. Today, two of those firms that I just mentioned are gone. Salomon Brothers was long got engulfed into Citibank, which itself has been the problem child of the banking sector. And Merrill Lynch has not long, but several years ago in the financial crisis, gotten engulfed into B of A, which itself has its own problems, ongoing problems in the sector. And in the meantime, boutiques have come and gone. Some have succeeded and gotten successfully sold, like the one I grew up in as a partner at Wolfenson with Paul Volcker. We sold out to Bankers Trust, and that was fine. We ran their M&A business, and that was great. Now we have another boutique that we're building. Some boutiques have made it, some boutiques haven't made it. The constituents within the business have changed. Secondly, a lot of M&A is now done in-house. A lot of companies have ex-bankers who were overcompensated, got squeezed out, and got picked up by companies. And when you have an M&A practitioner inside a company, you have a competitor in the company. So he's more than happy to take your call and learn your ideas, but he doesn't want to hire you because you'll just be competing for the same dollars that his bonus gets paid out of. That's a big change. Now, particularly big cap companies, they've got a lot of those folks. So big cap companies have become harder to bank, and big cap companies often will give out M&A business essentially as rewards for providing capital. Different game. Now, not always. I don't mean to overstate the problem, but the business has changed simply because a lot of the talent has moved in-house. The other place talent has moved is into private equity. So you have a little bit of a vacuum at the top where you don't have as much or as fertile an array of experienced M&A practitioners in this generation that we had seen when I was coming up the ranks as a pup associate at Salomon Brothers, and there were a lot of 50-something and even 60-something-year-old folks who were doing deals who had made a career out of being M&A bankers. Today, most of those people who were good have moved into private equity. So there's fewer people at the top of this profession who are practicing as outside advisors for both reasons. Some of them have gone in-house, some of them have gone into private equity firms. The business has always been competitive. Doing deals is animal spirits. It's exciting stuff. It's well-compensated stuff. So if it were easy, anybody could do it, and everybody wants to do it. So there's always going to be too many bankers chasing too few deals. I think that's still true, but I think there are fewer companies needing bankers. That's a big change. It's okay. It's okay if you're a specialist. It's not okay if you're just kind of transacting business in a sort of perfunctory way. You will quickly be out of business if that's what you're doing. I would say the same thing to M&A people that I would say to lawyers, and we could talk a lot about how the legal profession has changed and has become a tougher road to hoe today than might have been true a generation ago, and journalists. My son works at CNN, and I've seen a lot of people go through that profession. I would say the same thing to all of them. In a modern capitalist democratic society in which people compete heavily for the right to have coveted spots in professions, if you give these professions a little bit of time to mature, what happens is they will start to separate out the commodity players from the true professionals. And I think today you have to be a lawyer's lawyer, a banker's banker, a journalist's journalist in order to survive long term, because these places will chew people out because there's a big groundswell of people coming into professions all the time, and technology enables the unit value of professional work to be reduced. So if you don't have the higher order skills, you do become redundant in all these professions. So I would say to M&A bankers, if you really want to make a career out of it, you have to be intellectually curious, you have to be investing in yourself, and you have to not be commodity-like. Don't collapse to the median. Don't look at a list of comps and say the average deal took place at 8x, so if I get my client's deal done at 8x, I'm a winner. No, you're not. You're a loser and your client's a loser. You're supposed to be, if a money manager did that, he'd be out of business. If all he did was match the index, his clients would say, what do I need you for? I can buy the spiders, right? M&A bankers have to think that way. They have to compete to be in the top quartile or top decile. By the way, so do private equity managers. We got too many of those too. So I would say you got to demand excellence, you got to be intellectually curious, and you have to be embracing the higher order skills that we were talking about earlier: negotiation, network, access, communication, and really being able to stay in there a long time so you start to have a little bit of, dare I use the word, wisdom that you might be able to offer to a client.